my name's Kara Weiss from Informatics, and welcome to the second episode of the What's in Your Marketing Toolkit series. Today, we are going to look at the elements of SEO. To start with, I'm going to give you a little information about Informatics. We are an all things internet company that offers a wide variety of web-related services. Our award-winning team of experts are knowledgeable in many areas of the web, including development, design, videography, photography, SEO, social media, hosting, and so much more. And so today, we're going to talk a little bit about SEO. Just to give you a recap of our first episode where we helped you get to know SEO and social media, just a little background, SEO is a process of improving your web visibility in search engines. In our last video, we talked about some of the key terms that you should be familiar with. We also talked about social media and that it's the virtual interactive network where people can connect and communicate with one another. So today, we're going to look at SEO and the elements in a little more detail. As we talked about, your ultimate goal is to be found online, and that's done through search engines, the most popular ones being Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Of these search engines, each of them have a different algorithm or a different way that they analyze websites in order to provide the best recommendation. The good news is that each of these search engines have similar elements that they look at, which is what we're going to get into today. There are many elements and things to consider in SEO. As you can see from this graph, there are many different components and things to understand. Today, we're going to focus on 5 key areas, which include keywords, content, links, analytics, and touching a little bit on the HTML or how your website is constructed. So to start with, let's look at keywords. As we talked about in our last video, keywords are those terms users are searching online in order to find the best website for their products or services. So let's take a look at how keywords work. When a user goes to a search engine, like Google for example, they're going to type in certain keywords. Based on those keywords, the search engine needs to then analyze websites to find the best one. So it'll go out to your website, scan the content to determine the depth and frequency of that keyword on your website. In addition to your website, they're also looking at the millions of other websites out there, again, to determine which websites use that keyword the most and is the best resource for that user. Based on all of that analyzation, they return results, as you can see in this red box, for that selected keyword. So your ultimate goal is to be found. The reality is you can't be found for every keyword out there. And so it's important to determine what are your target keywords. What are those keywords or phrases that your users are going to be searching in order to find your products and your service? Once you've identified those keywords, you can then move on to the next step, which is content. Content is very important, and as we talked about, is what search engines are looking at on your website in order to determine if it's a good resource for that user. When they review your website, they're looking primarily for the depth of the content. So how many pages do you have with that keyword? And the frequency. How many times are you posting about that content and providing new information? So again, let's take a look at an example. If we look at the Informatics website, you can see we have a page devoted to web design, a service that we offer. Within that one content page, the term web design is reiterated multiple times. Again, this increases the odds that when a search engine reviews this content, it's going to recommend this website to that user. But the reality is, one content page is not enough. You need to have multiple content pages in order to be seen as a good resource. I like to give the example of a shoe store. If you have a store that has one shoe, the odds of that being what you want are slim. But if the store has hundreds of shoes, that odd increases. The same thing applies to the web. You want to make sure you have a lot of good quality content with that keyword in order to be seen as a good resource for that user. So the question is how do you create multiple content pages on a service that you offer? Well, there are a couple different types of content. One of them being a blog. A blog is a great way to present educational and informational on a topic versus company focus. So what I mean by that is when we looked at the example where Informatics has a page devoted to the service we offer of web design, We also have a blog where we incorporate the term web design in multiple ways. And so we use different blogs for that topic. We talk about trends in web design, what is web design, things you should consider. Again, this is a great resource for the user, and on top of it, search engines like to see that you have a lot of great content. Another type of content is social media. Social media is different from other ones because it's short, visual, but still informational. Social media is a great way to reach your audience, incorporate those keywords, and be a good resource for your users. Since social media is such an important piece, we're actually going to be covering this in much more detail in a future episode. So the things that we want to take away from content are making sure that you have a lot of great content that incorporates your keywords, but also that you're constantly adding to it. You want to be on a regular basis adding more content to the website. So the next item that we're going to look at is links. There are two different types of links. The first being cross-links, when you link within your website to another section. This eases usability and also gets users to see all of the content of your website. But another important one is inbound links, when another website links to your website. This is important because search engines see those inbound links almost as a recommendation. It's saying that that website trusts and understands the content you have. The more inbound links you can have, the more credible your site becomes. So again, let's take a look at an example. If we have two websites that have similar content and are targeting the same keywords, but let's say company A has 4 inbound links versus company B has none. Well, the search engine is actually going to favor company A a little more because it has those inbound links or recommendations. So the more inbound links you can have, the better. So where do you find inbound links? Where do you start? A lot of it is connections you make, but there are a few tips. The first one, try local companies in your area. The next one being your customers, those people that you work with already have a good relationship with. Look at industry directories and also social media. There are a ton of great social media networks out there that you can be on to, again, reach your audience and to educate them. But more importantly, link back to your own website and get them to all the content and great information you have. Because social media is such an important content tool and link, we'll be covering it in much more detail in a future episode. So the next element that we want to look at is analytics. With any tool that you use, you want to be able to measure and track what you're doing. Analytics is a fundamental tool of SEO. Without it, there's no way to gauge and to continue to improve. There are many analytic tools that you want to be aware of and many reports that you want to be looking at on a very regular basis. Rather than going into each one of those reports today, I'm going to touch on a few of the key ones. The first one being the who. This is the visitor information. How many people are accessing your website? You can go as high level as the numbers per day to as detailed as what time of day to, again, continue to hone your content in a better way. The next report is the what. What content are they looking at on your website? What pages are the most popular? It allows you to gauge what pages that you're continuing to optimize, are those being effective? In addition, you can see what pages aren't. Which ones do you need to continue the optimization process on? Again, analytics provides you that data and information on your site. The next report is the where. Where are your users from? Are they local? Are they a different state, a different country? Once you have be able to identify who your users are, again, you can continue to hone your website for that user. It's through analytics and through all of this reporting that you can actually understand who your demographics and who your audience are. The last report is the how. How did they get to your site? What phrases did they type in? But more importantly, are the target phrases that you have identified, are they being effective? If not, who is outperforming you? What do you need to continue to do in order to rise above your competitors? It's the how information that you actually can, again, continue the optimization process. So the thing to remember about analytics is that without it, you're shooting in the dark. You need analytics and you need to understand the metrics in order to be successful in your SEO campaign. The next element that we're going to look at is the HTML. We've talked a little bit about the content and the user side. Now the HTML deals with the behind the scenes, how your website was developed. This is important because there are certain elements you want to take into consideration when developing your website. Things such as usability, speed, page titles, meta descriptions, and so on. Rather than going into a lot of detail of the technical side, what we recommend is have a web partner, somebody that understands and is knowledgeable in the best practices of SEO. It's those people that will be able to help you optimize your website and ensure the structure of it is great for SEO. So we've talked a lot about the elements today. The thing to remember is that SEO is an ongoing process. You will constantly be continuing to adapt to the search engine's algorithms as they evolve. But more importantly, you will continue to adapt based on what your analytics presents. Based on the information that you see in your data, you will continue to improve. This is a lot of information, and so the one thing to consider is that if you need help, consider for your SEO strategy. If you need help and you want to hit the ground running in order to get found, contact us and we're able to help you. We can offer SEO services that focus on outcome, measure results, and provide coaching for success. So check out our website and contact us at informaticsinc.com. Thanks for joining us today. I hope you gained a lot of great information, and we hope to see you next week where we answer a lot of those frequently asked questions about SEO. We'll see you next week.